Helping Seniors Television, all about improving quality of life for seniors. If you're a senior, know a senior, or plan to be a senior, then this show is for you. It's all about helping you develop your own aging plan so you can age actively and with dignity. Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network of information, education, and resources. Welcome to today's edition of Helping Seniors Television from the Helping Seniors Network. Whether you are caring for a senior, are a senior, or just plan to be one, we hope you'll enjoy today's program. Do you know what the Realtor designation SRES is and why as a senior it could save you thousands of dollars when buying or selling your home? SRES is a special earned designation held by less than 2% of all realtors that stands for Senior Real Estate Specialist. Learn more from Debbie Fischer, SRES of Brevard Relocate Realty Group. I'm Kerry Fink with Helping Seniors. It's my privilege to sit in for Joe Steckler today on Helping Seniors Television. Helping Seniors is a nonprofit organization dedicated to helping seniors. We operate the area's senior information helpline at 321-473-7770. And we've helped more than 2,400 families all throughout Brevard County, absolutely free of charge. That's our service as a charity in the community. But we also do a lot of educational outreach. We want to make sure people know how they can best make their aging plan effective and useful. And so you can look everywhere, see Joe Steckler's articles in everything from Hometown News to Senior Scene Magazine and so many more excellent publications in our area. You can catch us on Space Coast Government Television, and you can, of course, catch us on our weekly Helping Seniors radio show as well, and all the time on our Helping Seniors website at helpingseniorsofbrevard.com. But we're here today to have a very interesting discussion about seniors and real estate. And in particular, we're going to talk about what the designation SRES can mean for you and why it is something you absolutely want to seek out when you're getting involved in real estate. And that could be buying, it could be selling, it could be downsizing, all those things. And we're very privileged to have an expert on those topics with us today. And it's Miss Debbie Fischer with the Brevard Relocate Realty Group. And what a pleasure it is to have you here today. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Kerry.
And you know, I'm fascinated because viewers, when you hear about Debbie's background, there's a lot of real estate agents, and this isn't anything plus or minus for a real estate agent because there's many, many good real estate agents. But there is something that Debbie brings to the table which really comes into significant value when you talk about what it could pertain to senior real estate. And that is your background because you're an expert administrator you have nursing home, assisted living experience. Tell us a little bit about your background and how you even got to the place of real estate.
Well, my background actually starts in the mid-'80s. I was a director at a nursing home and continued through the years working various director levels and I'm actually a licensed nursing home administrator. So that's actually a year-long beyond your bachelor's of intern to learn all aspects, the financing, the maintenance, the nursing, everything, to make sure you truly understand all aspects of senior care. And so prior to starting my company, I was an executive director for nursing homes, assisted living communities, and independent living. So what that brings to the table and why I started my business is because with 20-some years of being on the side of senior housing and nursing homes, I discovered there was this ongoing problem I continued to see as an executive director for loved ones and their family members when it became time to make such important decisions, not knowing where to turn, not understanding what resources are even out there, discovering sometimes that they really don't even need to leave their home, maybe with some modifications or some assistance from like Seniors Helping Seniors, for example. They can stay in their house and be independent, but also when the time comes where they no longer can do that and it's not safe, that's where we come in as a senior real estate specialist, because beyond the normal real estate education and licensing, a senior real estate specialist, which actually represents less than 2% of all realtors in the nation, according to the National Association of Realtors, it's actually additional training that goes so you understand things about Medicare and Medicaid and different levels of care elder law, VA in attendance, all the different things that maybe a senior, when they're facing this, or their loved ones or power of attorney, don't even know these options are out there, or maybe selling their house, but they're also having to possibly apply for Medicaid. How does that affect then the proceeds from that home? Do we need to look at maybe having it in a trust, or do we need to have an elder law look at things, so that way all of a sudden now what you thought was maybe going to go to your spouse or your loved one, now all of a sudden is going to go to a nursing home because you did not title it correctly when it was on the sale. So there's a lot of things that you need to know when dealing with senior real estate.
Wow. Yeah, you just as you're going through that, there's so much in all of that to unpack. I guess one of the first questions I wanted to focus in on was, though, I think with your experience as a person that's been involved in skilled nursing and assisted living, and you understand the needs of seniors. So also I think that probably is a useful thing, just because you understand that whole. Joe calls it a continuum of care, and then making an aging plan, because right now where you are, then where you're going to be, and then this happens, so things don't catch you so much by surprise. And I guess with your experience, that you're really able to help people work and navigate through those kind of things.
Absolutely, because what I actually find is a lot of time they are caught in that crisis situation where they haven't planned or they haven't deeded their house properly, and now all of a sudden, maybe someone falls and they end up going to the hospital, and the goal there is to go home with home health.
Right.
Well, now because of, for whatever reason, that's not going to be the reality. So now all of a sudden it's like, well, what are we going to do?
Sure.
And they don't understand what levels of care are. They don't understand what options are available just in our own county, let alone what to do with the house and who would pack it up, who's going to, there's just so many avenues. They don't know, well, how am I going to help? I'm down here helping my mom for a week and I need to get back to wherever state I live in. And how is all this going to happen in a week? And that's where my company comes in, because of my extensive background in senior care and knowing all the different resources and avenues out there. Part of our service and what sets us apart at Brevard Relocate Realty Group is we coordinate that process for you. So that way, when that out-of-state or out-of-area loved one or daughter or spouse is trying to navigate through all the things all of a sudden that need to happen, they're not overwhelmed. Because what usually happens when they become overwhelmed is they stop the process and don't do anything. And now we usually end up with more negative than positive. So one of the things that sets us apart at Brevard Relocate Realty Group is we will coordinate that process. We will help with the movers, estate planners, recommend senior-friendly elder law attorneys, all the things that you need to pull together to make this happen as stress-free as possible, rather than you realizing that you have this situation now, you have to go on a hunt to figure out what and who you should be calling.
Yeah, and that's one of the things we opened the show. You remember I said there's that 4 letters SRES that becomes so important in the middle of this. So it's it would be obvious why you would say, if I'm going to go into and help seniors with these real estate issues, I would want to certify. But what is SRES and the Senior Real Estate Specialist? What is that program? Because I guess if you said most people probably aren't even aware that such a thing exists.
It's actually through the National Association of Realtors. It's an additional certification and designation that requires additional training and then also ongoing continuing education to continue with that. And it keeps you abreast of changes that are going on in elder laws, things like we talked about with deeds. I mean, there's just things that constantly change in healthcare, as you know.
Right.
So that same thing then trickles down to the real estate aspect. What could be a look-back period, like VA in attendance, for example, used to not have a look-back period. Now they have a look-back period of about 8 months, which could be increasing. So there's just many things that people, when they're applying for this, don't even realize now they could have a negative impact because they don't know the whole process or what they should be looking at. So as a senior real estate specialist, we keep abreast of these things. So we're never going to give legal advice. That's not our position, or nor should it be. But as we're having our discovery free consultations with our clients, that's when we discover, oh, I need to get you involved with an estate person. We need to get you involved with some elder law attorney. Because I start seeing what
Right.
what things they don't even realize they should be looking at. Or I discover they don't know how they're going to pay for assisted living, and I find out the spouse is a veteran, during a
Right.
wartime. All of a sudden now they didn't realize they had, $1,500 possibly available to help with the assisted
Right.
living. So there's just so many avenues that possibly a regular real estate agent is not even going to know to offer you those things to even look into or and guide you through.
Yeah, I can't begin to imagine how many real estate agents there are in our country, that have passed their licensing and all that. But to be in that top 2% where you've actually taken and gone well above and beyond. And I think you were explaining to me that not only is in your organization, the Brevard Relocate Realty Group, not only is that applicable for you, but you make that a requirement for everybody who's on your team that works directly in the real estate transactions, right?
Absolutely, because that's our mission at Brevard Relocate Realty Group, to truly be a company here in Brevard and Indian River County that specialize in our 55 plus real estate. So not only myself, but my agents that also join, either they already have or within 60 days have to become a real estate specialist to continue part of our brokerage. Because we're dedicated to our seniors and being advocates for our seniors to make sure everything is as stress-free as possible during these times of transition.
That's so good. And so now let's talk about the kind of real estate transactions that come your way as people say, look, I'm 55 plus. I'm thinking about doing this with my home. It's either I'm going to get a smaller home, I need to go to a one-story home, I need to think about downsizing, I might be thinking assisted living. I imagine you probably have conversations with people on so many different levels, but what are the kind of calls that you welcome to hear?
Well, I always prefer if I can actually do a free in-home
Okay.
consultation, because I feel going to their home, I really truly get a full picture of what we're looking at, what kind of help and resources they need, versus just a few-minute conversation over the phone.
Sure.
It doesn't give the seniors or their loved ones the justice it needs to really make it as stress-free as possible. When I go in the home and we just start, it's a casual conversation. There's no cost or obligation. It's just kind of a discovery time. And I can tell by a house a lot of times by there may be excessive clutter. I can discover that maybe they're not eating as well as they should, or
Right.
there's safety issues. Maybe there's walkers involved that don't fit properly in a bathroom now, so they have a high fall risk. There's all different things that I discover by going into the home, and that's where I can make suggestions as far as, well, do you realize there are 130 licensed communities just in Brevard County? People do not realize that. They just see the big ones that they see maybe driving down US 1.
Right.
But there's 130 licensed communities just in Brevard, and that's not including independent living, which are not licensed.
Right. We just did a show recently for helping seniors with an organization that is a small group assisted living home. And that's something that I think, for myself and a lot of other people didn't even know those were on the radar. But so you're able to sit down and assess a situation with a person that goes far beyond, let me see your house, let me tell you what it's worth, and this is what I can get for you. Because you're really, if the correct move would be somebody needs to look at an assisted living option, you have the background and experience, and could you help them with that kind of a decision?
Absolutely. And I actually also work with a senior placement agency, because another thing that most seniors and their loved ones don't realize is a local senior placement agency can actually help you tour, look at locations, and there's absolutely no charge to you or your families ever. So it really lets you experience a few. You don't have to pick one and decide. You can actually tour, have lunch at several, see what makes you feel comfortable. And that's why I really like our free in-home consultation, because I find out what their personalities are. Like, what do you really want to go to? Are you more a stay by yourself, or are you doing that now because you maybe have lost some of your independence and you would maybe like to get back to being more social? So what are we really looking at here? Are we looking at you're kind of isolated right now, but that's not really who you are and what you want? Or would you thrive better in a small home that maybe only has 4 or 5 other seniors and it's a regular house, so it's more of a small community? Would that make you the most independent and happy? And I think that's what it boils down to in looking at so many things. It's like, what do we just want to downsize to, an apartment or a condo, or are we looking at some safety issues that we also need to address? And the condo is really going to be smaller, but is it really going to help you live life to the fullest that you should be living?
Yeah, and I think that's why, it's funny, I was looking at some of the questions that we were talking about we wanted to cover, and one of those was, why does Brevard Relocate Realty Group offer a one-stop solution? I think this is really what you've been explaining, is that you're able to walk in and really assess the situation on multiple levels. There's the real estate aspect, but there's also the quality of life aspect, and your ability to help somebody make some decisions that would really be beneficial seems strong. So I guess the question would be, why would somebody not give you guys a call? Because it seems like, a lot of times it's said that people perish for the lack of knowledge, and here this expertise is available. So what do? They give your office a call, or how does that process get rolling?
Actually, I've had a lot of people reading the insert every month in Senior Scene for our articles, and they'll call me for that, and starts the process. I have referrals from the VA social workers, discharge planners, case managers. So I am well connected within the community for the social workers, as far as they know I'm a reference for seniors as well.
Okay. And if they wanted to call the office, we'll say it again at the end of the show, but what number do they call for?
They would call 321-298-5562.
Say that one more time.
It's 321-298-5562. And that's actually my cell number. I believe that you should have my cell number. I'm available 7 days a week, and that's what I need to do, because just because when you're available doesn't mean I should have a cookie cutter time when I'm available.
Well, that's definitely helpful. And I imagine sometimes you're talking to homeowners themselves, but do you also find the adult children of their parents are calling and asking, or who's the people who normally call and get the ball rolling, I guess?
Most of the time, actually, it's the adult children. Where they've come down to visit and they haven't seen mom or dad for a while, and they come to the house and it's like, oh my goodness, things aren't the same as they used to be. What do we do? Yes. And that's where they've picked the article up and helping seniors of Brevard and have the resource. And that's when I go in and discover all the things we're talking about, that it's well beyond just real estate. Yeah. It's not selling and having a condo, which sometimes that is the case. Sometimes it's just simple. We don't use half the house. We don't go in half the rooms anymore. We don't want to do yard work.
So downsizing is good then.
Downsizing is good. But if I go in and discover it's not just downsizing, then we're in a whole different area where I really feel our expertise is what makes a difference. Because a lot of times, a good-hearted neighbor or a friend will say, well, I use whoever. But they may not have all these other resources and avenues. Yes, they could maybe help you find the condo or sell your home, but then you're left for all these other aspects to figure out, and hopefully you do right, and it doesn't financially cost you a negative way.
Yeah, isn't that part of the story too, is because this is, for many people, this is like one of the most significant portions of their assets, or the things that they have to work with for retirement. And making a mistake at this juncture could be really, really a dramatic thing. So doesn't it make sense to really take advantage and get the best expertise you could for that? I would think so. I wanted to ask you, what would you say some of the things that you've taken away or learned in your experiences as you have this whole history of working with people in the assisted living and nursing home realm, but as you've moved into the real estate realm, and you've been doing this now for quite some time too, but tell me some of the stories and things that you've learned along the way with that.
Well, there's so many stories. A lot of time when I go in, they don't know what resources are out there as far as where they could move.
Sure.
So their first mindset, usually the parents think, oh, my daughter is moving me to a nursing home. Because they don't realize all the other wonderful, small homes, independent living, and things like that are out there.
Right.
So there's this fear, the fear of the unknown.
Sure.
So then what happens is they've stayed in the home long past when they should, where it's become a safety issue, because they rather be unsafe in a familiar area than not knowing what to go. And that's why I feel education is so important, because I want people to make an educated decision based on an individual need, not a generic, real estate transaction. You really need to look at all facets of what your particular situation deals with. And like I've said, well, we're not ever going to provide any legal advice because that's not,
Right.
obviously we're not going to do something like that. But we can give you, do you realize do you realize, if you're looking at, Medicaid, all of a sudden your house is protected, but if one of them is going to a nursing home and you sell, now that's an asset
Wow.
that now all of a sudden you'd have to give the nursing home money versus, so
Right.
so we need to get a trust involved and have an elder law attorney do
Right.
this before we even list. So
Yeah.
there's just little things that they may do that they don't even realize.
Yeah, and I would say like maybe a very, very qualified real estate person would probably say, well, look, I've researched the market, here's your deal, but they wouldn't be able to have any insight in all these nuances that you're speaking about.
Right.
And this is where really the bulk of the money actually probably sits as these people are making the right aging plan. And again, that's something Joe has always talked about on the Helping Seniors front. His whole reason behind forming Helping Seniors of Brevard is to get people information that will help them in their aging plan. So as they approach this, there's sort of a strategy behind it. And it sounds like that's a large part of what you do as you walk in and you talk with different families. So what are some mistakes that you see that, you probably walk into some very difficult situations, then you're trying to do your best that you can within the parameters, but what are some things people might want to think about to try to avoid?
Well, if you've made the decision that you're going to list your home, some of the mistakes I've seen is they'll have their friend or neighbor say, well, I seen on, say, Zillow or Trulia, your house should be worth X.
Ah.
Well, when was this house even sold?
Mm-hmm.
And then they say a price, but now we don't know when is the last time your house has been updated. Was this house that you're telling your friend about and you're doing it because you think you're doing the right thing for
Right.
them, but this person maybe have already updated their house and has kitchens and bathrooms done and you haven't done any remodeling in 20 years.
Right.
That's not going to be the same situation. Another thing I actually see is when people choose to interview more than one realtor and they come in and they'll say, well, I think I can get X for your house. See where they got this information.
Yes.
Don't just go with the highest price.
Yes.
Because you need to look at recent sold comps. That's very, very important. That's why an appraiser can only pull back 6 months of solds in your area because a year ago that price is irrelevant in this community. So even if someone says I can get X for your house, whoever's going to buy your house probably has to finance it.
Yes.
Which means an appraiser now is going to go and appraise the value. Well, if you've priced it so far out of the market and you're excited because you think you're going to get this and you get an offer, well, if it doesn't appraise, you're back to square one.
Right.
So it's really better to make sure when you're looking at having your house go on the market, look at the recent solds close to your home as possible with your realtor. Look and see where do they come up with this figure as far as what they could sell your house for?
Right.
And don't look at the dollar amount. You need to look at per square foot of your living. Because yes, maybe the house 2 doors down sold for $280, but it's 500 square feet larger than yours. You can't do that. It needs to be per square foot living. And then you need to further break it down when you're looking at houses in your area. What has been updated in my house compared to this house that was just recently sold for X?
Right.
Because if I've not did some of the upgrades, but this other house in the neighborhood has got, whatever their sold price was, you have to look easily $10,000 for a kitchen, $5,000 for each bathroom. And if you haven't done that, how then is your house truly going to sell for that? So don't get excited on whoever brings you the highest price.
Yeah, it really does sound like, because I've heard that from before from some people will tell you whatever you want to hear to quote, get a listing or whatever, but that's really a disservice, right, to the client because that's not really going to be framed in reality. So I guess one of the things, if you were looking at the camera and you were advising somebody, how would they select the right real estate company and persons to work with in a transaction of this size? What are the things that you would ask them to be sure when you're interviewing that person that they would be looking for?
Well, I think what they need to be looking for, besides just listing their house or selling a house, is I feel you need to look at your whole situation. Because if a realtor is coming in and they were just looking at, oh, I could sell your house for X, but they truly don't understand all your aspects of your life. I mean, Yes, maybe they could move you to a condo or somewhere else, but is really that the best place to go? Because you don't want to have to move again because you've made the wrong decision. You know, we really take that time and look at the whole situation and what is the absolutely best place for you to move to, that you're going to hopefully be, then that's the next place you move to, where you're not, oh, I made a mistake and now I need to move again. Or because I didn't take that time to work with a senior real estate specialist that could really look at all these aspects of my real estate.
Yeah, so getting the right person on board could really be like a $10,000, $20,000 advantage because of just the things that a senior real estate specialist would understand, and then particularly back it up to your level, which is far even beyond that because of your own experience in the industry. So as we're getting, we just have probably like a minute or so left, but I wanted to ask you, I know we're neighbors now at the Zon Beach side. That's where your office is, so people are welcome to come visit, and actually it's helping seniors location as well. But again, tell us how people would reach you. What's the best way to get the process started? They're understanding now about what a senior real estate specialist is. How do they get in contact? What's the next step?
Well, what I'd like them to do is just give me a call. My number is 321-298-5562. Again, that's my cell number. And we offer a free in-home consultation, and we can really see and discover what your best needs are and what is best for you to make the next move.
Wow. And say the number one more time.
321-298-5562.
And that's a free call, and it's free. You're not obligated. You're just going to
We're just discovering at that point. There's no obligation.
Wonderful.
There's no cost. We want to help you, and that's always been our mission, is we really want to be the resource for our seniors.
Oh, good. All right. Well, thank you so much for coming on Helping Seniors
Absolutely.
TV. And this has been really informative. And viewer, we want to thank you for tuning in. Hope this has been helpful for you too as you create your own aging plan. I'm Kerry Fink on behalf of Helping Seniors. Thanks for watching.
I'm Joe Steckler. Thank you for joining our program today. I'd like to remind you that our senior information line is available to you at 321-473-7770. There you can get help and direction that could be helpful for your specific situation or circumstances. The work of helping seniors is very important, but we can't do it alone. That is why our sponsors here in Brevard County are so important. I'd like to thank our many area sponsors, businesses, and medical providers who support the mission of helping seniors that help us carry the cost of our media efforts. If you'd like to join us either as a business partner or simply donate as an individual, we would welcome your call at 321-473-7770. You are always welcome to visit our website at www.helpingseniorsofbrevard.org. Thanks so much for your help. It does make a difference.